Alright guys, sorry about that. My camera ran out of storage space, so I had to take a moment to figure that out. Again, a little bit of those technical difficulties that I've been dealing with. And in that process, I also lost one of my studio lights, died on me. So hopefully it's not too dark on the side for you and you can still see okay overall. But what I left off with doing was I was just saying that I was trying to get this 4 little diamond image. It does not look great, but hopefully it is enough for me to know what it means when I start diamond painting with it again. All right, so the next question from Katie's questions of her would you rather is, would you rather work in sections or free range? So I personally have never worked free range at any point in time. I have always sectioned off my kit since I started diamond painting. That just is what makes the most sense for my brain. I don't think I'd be able to work across the entire kit. I think maybe when like I very first started, I might have like, it wouldn't be free range still, but I think I kind of like lifted up the corner of the diamond painting cover and like painted the smallest little triangle in the bottom corner of a painting. But truthfully, I have never enjoyed that. So that's probably not something that I would ever want to do. I really prefer to work in sections. I used to cut my cover sheet when I was working on double-sided adhesive paintings. Recently, I have started using actual like pre-cut release papers from like Diamond Art Club. So I do prefer those. I haven't tried the washi method before, where you have the, like you lay your washi tape down and cut along the line. Basically that would be the same thing, but I've never actually worked with a kit before. This one will be my first one that has poured glue. I've only ever worked on double-sided adhesive canvases. So I've never had really the opportunity to try the washi tape method. So it might be something I'd try out with this kit. As I get working on it, we'll see. This is also, again, I think I said earlier, the biggest kit that I've worked on. So might have to decide how I want to go about working on it in a way that might be a little bit different than the way I've worked on kits before in the past. Alrighty. Next question is washi tape or release paper. So I guess I kind of answered that question. I, again, haven't ever worked with the washi tape method because I've never worked on a poured glue canvas. I will say I do use washi tape on the sides of my canvas, like to like block off the edges and stuff. So obviously that one, I would say obviously for that I use washi tape, but I don't actually use it, never have, to like section off my canvas. All right, next question is thick or thin diamond painting pen. So I definitely prefer the diamond painting pens that are kind of, I would maybe say medium would be a better way of describing it. I don't like the thin pens that come with kits, traditionally, but I don't like really thick chunky pens either. I really find my sweet spot, if you've ever used the Diamond Art Club diamond painting pens that they have, that's kind of, again, it's really just a middle ground. Those are definitely my preferred. I have really long fingers, but thin fingers, so I just find that seems to be best for my hand. I don't really like the chunky diamond painting pens. Next question from Katie is, do you use the legend on the canvas or on the containers? So I definitely use the legend from containers. I will quite literally never reference the legend on the side of my canvases. Again, that partially goes back to the washi tape thing, how I like edge my paintings with washi tape, because at least for the like cheaper is not quite the right word, the more affordable kits that I've done in the past, I have found that the legends on the side are like right next to the glue that overhangs. So because there's such a small clearance between that and the like legend, I can't read the legend anyway when I put washi tape over it. So I've never been one to use the legend, never made like a photocopy of it or anything either. That just hasn't seemed necessary. I just draw the symbol on the on my containers here when I'm kitting up. And then if I had a kit that had the stickers with the labels and the symbols and all that on them already, I would definitely be using that. Alrighty. Next and final question from Katie here is, toss a whip you hate or power through and finish anyway. So if you have a kit that you really dislike working on, but you're in the middle of working on it, would you toss it or would you continue to work on it and power through? I would definitely say that I would power through. I am definitely a completionist. I am somebody who, once I start, I am not going to stop. So that's part of why I stopped diamond painting for such a long time, is simply because I was not motivated to keep working on the kit that I had been working on, but I was committed to finishing it before I started another one, which kind of goes back to the multiple whips or one. I think if I started working with more than one whip at a time, I might be more okay letting it go if I did find something that I was just not enjoying very much. But I don't know that for sure. I'll have to wait and see how that kind of pans out as I start trying to maybe work on more than one project at a time. All right, so as I said, those were all of Katie's questions, but her questions kind of inspired me to add some of my own would you rather questions. So I'll have Anthony's questions, Katie's questions, and my questions in the description box below. So if you want to answer the questions, you can refer to those and either answer them in the comments, or you can take them and make them your own in your own video if you have your own channel. Clearly, that's something that Anthony and Katie have said they're okay with. I'm totally fine if you take my questions and make your own video with them as well. So my first would you rather question, again, have already answered this one, but tweezers or diamond painting pen. As I said, tweezers are definitely my preferred way of diamond painting. Truthfully, I'm going to try. I don't know if it will work well, but I'm going to try diamond painting with tweezers on this round kit just to see if I find it possible and enjoyable. Again, I have actually started using diamond painting pens over the last 6 months or so probably. So I am more comfortable with them now. And I find that my placement is not horribly off when I use them now. I think that's part of why I prefer the tweezers, is I am just so much of a perfectionist that I find it really difficult to not use the tweezers, because I just have so much more control using the tweezers than I do if I'm like trying to place with the pen, especially with squares. Maybe with rounds I'll find that I don't care as much because I don't have to line them up, but with the squares, when you're trying to line them up in the grid line, I just find it very frustrating to use the diamond painting pen versus the tweezers, or at least I did for quite a while. And again, some of it might just be the tools I was using were not the best or highest quality, so maybe using better quality tools makes it a little less problematic. All right, next question is seal or no seal. So I know that's a big debate, and in some cases can like void warranties and things from companies if you seal your diamond painting. And if something goes wrong, then they put the onus on you instead of assisting with replacement drills or whatever if something were to happen. But I have not sealed any of my diamond paintings yet. The first couple that I completed that I wanted to like keep a little bit nicer, I put into just poster frames that I bought from Michael's. I just found ones that were close enough in size and then trimmed the edges so that it was of the canvas so that it was just the image itself. And then I added mat board to the side of it for any like space that didn't have the diamond painting covering it when it was in the frame. But I lost my train of thought. But I haven't ever sealed a diamond painting. I've just placed them behind the glass or the plastic, I guess, of the poster frames. And then that's been the way that I've like tried to maintain the kit without any sort of like concerns about something popping off or falling off or going missing or something like that. But I have all of the supplies to try sealing a diamond kit or a diamond painting kit in the future. I would like to seal my kits, I think. It kind of depends on how it goes. Again, I have a couple of budget kits that I would like to try to seal and like kind of practice on first. That way, if I decide I do want to go ahead and just seal up all of my kits, I don't ruin like a Diamond Art Club kit or even this kit from Enabler's Outpost, trying to seal a kit that's nicer quality and costs more money and all of that kind of stuff. So I have a couple of kits that I can kind of quote unquote practice on to try to seal. So I think that is my goal at some point, is to film a video of sealing those. But let's see here. Make sure I put this in the right size container. Let's see, I probably can fit it in this large size. Next question is display or store. So I kind of do a combination of these. I have some that I like to display for my diamond paintings, but especially now that I've bought as many as I have, I definitely intend to store most of my diamond paintings. There will be probably very few that I display in like a frame. But I do have hangers that you would have seen in my stash video and my organization video that I purchased that hang up in my closet in my office, so that hopefully I can just hang them from the hangers off of the closet rod. And that can kind of be my way of storing them, at least for now. I don't really want to have to store them inside some sort of like portfolio or something like that, just because I feel like I will never go back to that and look at it or like flip through it. And to be honest, I might not flip through the ones necessarily that are hanging up in my closet, but at least I feel like they're a little more accessible that way, versus if they're inside of another kind of contraption that I'd have to open to be able to see. All right, here. Next question is going to be small sections, big sections, or the whole canvas. So this is pretty similar to Katie's question that she asked, but I am asking specific to the size of any section. So like, I know some people don't work in sections at all, but if you work in sections, do you prefer to work in smaller size sections or bigger size sections? Again, this is something that might change for me as I start diamond painting more, but right now I find that I like to work in pretty small sections, like probably smaller than most people who diamond paint like to work in, just because I find that I spend a couple of hours even just on a small section. And again, part of that might have to do with the fact that the kits I've worked on have a lot of confetti, and I haven't tried multi-placing before, so I don't know if that would get a little bit faster so I could do larger sections. Or maybe doing larger sections would have helped with my confetti issue, because I would have been able to keep, you know, that color in my tray for longer before I moved on to the next one. But I definitely prefer smaller sections as of right now. And as I start diamond painting more, maybe I'll find that larger sections are actually easier or better for me. But the smaller sections also, I think, help me feel more accomplished. Like, I don't have to worry about feeling like this section that I picked for myself is too overwhelming, or like I'm gonna be, again, this goes back to me being a completionist, right? So like, if I sit down to work on the section, I'm gonna continue to sit there and work on the section. And if I make it such a big section that I'm gonna sit there and work for 3 or 4 hours straight, I'll just sit there and work for 3 or 4 hours straight, which is not good for my body. So having smaller sections kind of forces me at least to think about how much time I've been spending on diamond painting in one sitting, and kind of think about like, do I want to keep going? Is now a good time to take a break? What do I want to do moving forward? Rather than just being like, I'm just going to continue to power through this and everything will be fine. So I definitely prefer working on smaller sections. But again, I might find that working on larger sections, especially once I start trying to multi-place, might be easier for me or better for me or kind of the same, you know, I'm not sure. All right, and then next question is, where do you start on your canvas? Do you start at the top, the bottom, or in the middle? I know some people like to save the middle for last, do the focal point at the very end, or sometimes people like to start with that, depending on the image probably. I know some people also start from the bottom of their canvas and will like pull it onto their lap, or, you know, if the canvas fits on the table, I guess you're not worrying about it being in your lap, but you know, you'll work from the bottom of the canvas up to the top. Personally, I like to work from the top of my canvas down. No matter what the image is, if there's a focal point, I'm just gonna go from the top and move my way down to the bottom. That way, if I do have anything that's like a large enough canvas, I will push it away from me, the completed work, and I don't feel like I'm gonna have like hairs or anything like dangling off the table, or like I won't have the painting dangling off the table to get things like hair or anything like that in the adhesive. I try my best to keep all of the lint and dust and hair and all of the little things that get stuck in the adhesive and the glue from getting stuck in the adhesive and the glue. So I find that when I start at the top and work my way down, it just keeps it better protected because I'm not exposing that adhesive until I'm working on it, which at that point is on my table and is not as prone to getting all of those things in it. Then in correspondence with that question, the next question is, do you work from left to right or right to left? So again, this kind of goes back to, I try my best to keep my like body out of the adhesive, my wrist, my hand, my sleeve, all of that stuff. So what I end up doing is I work from top to bottom and I work from left to right. So I will start on the leftmost top corner of a painting and I will work my way kind of across and down. And I don't necessarily work across and then down. Sometimes I'll work down and then across. It kind of depends on the format of the kit. But I am right-handed, so it just makes the most sense for me to keep everything covered until I move across the canvas. And after I've moved across, after I finish the diamonds, then I can expose more adhesive where my hand's not going to get into it. And I guess that kind of goes back to what size sections I like to work on, because I prefer to, I'll go ahead and skip for a second. I missed a number here, but we'll go back to 28 in a moment because that's going to take a couple of big containers, I believe, to get all of those in there. And I might not even have enough big containers because I'll need a big container for my glow-in-the-dark drills too, probably. But anyway, when I am working on the canvas and I'm using a really big section, my hand gets stuck in it more often. So I like using the smaller sections because my hand's less likely to get stuck in the adhesive that way. And maybe I just need to be better about, you know, where I'm placing my hand or making sure I'm not putting it down fully on the table. But until that day arrives, I prefer the smaller sections and prefer to work from left to right. And again, also from top to bottom. Let's see here. At my 4-number DMC codes, which is harder to write down on my little strip of tape there without squishing them all together. All right. Next question here is, do you use a light pad or no light pad? So I started off not using a light pad, but only for a very short amount of time. And then I got a light pad, which I was using every time I diamond painted from then on, until recently, actually. And I think part of the reason I always wanted a light pad was because I just wasn't using great overhead lighting either. So it made it hard. I don't know why my brain was like, if I have a light pad, it'll make it easier to see my diamond painting from above and my drills to make sure I'm not putting the trash drills in there, which is definitely not how that works. But I still find the light pad to be useful. I've just realized that like I don't have to use it every single time. I can kind of use it just depending on when I need to use it. So that's good to know. But again, definitely did not use a light pad until recently. So I'm going to take a second to break from the questions just to talk about these 939s. There we go. So I have 2 of these extra large containers left, and I was going to put 2 bags in each container because I think they would fit, but I actually think I'm going to have extra room in my Elizabeth Ward tray once I take out the empty containers, that I'll just have some extra space. So I think I'm just going to throw a couple of these bags that have the spare 939, which is the number 28 on this canvas, just in my Elizabeth Ward tray and just throw it in here once I have some space. So I'm going to go ahead and fill this container up with as many of the 939s as I can, and then whatever is left, I'll just add them in the baggies to this container just to keep them housed and keep them with their kit. All right, so next question I have on my list is, would you rather work on an angled or a flat surface? So I definitely prefer, well, I guess I should say I definitely started with working just on a flat surface, as I'm sure most people do. I do have a like tabletop easel that I purchased that I like to work on as well. I've also recently purchased a standing desk. So between the standing desk and the easel, I kind of flip back and forth between whether I work on an angled surface or on a flat surface. I find if I like move my standing table up high enough, I don't necessarily need the angled surface because I can sit more upright. But if I'm sitting at like a normal level, I do prefer to use the angled surface of the easel board. Alrighty, so let's see here. So this is going to be my 939 container. And then next question here is, do you prefer to work with double-sided adhesive or poured glue? So I think most people probably prefer the poured glue. And at this point, I know even the budget companies tend to utilize the poured glue versus the double-sided adhesive. As I said earlier, I have never worked actually on a poured glue canvas before. This is my first one. So I'm looking forward to it because I imagine it's going to be a lot easier to work with in terms of like how the canvas performs and how the canvas lays, as well as like not having to deal with bubbles and rivers and all the lines and stuff that can be created from the double-sided adhesive not laying down properly. So I'm looking forward to the poured glue. I think that's going to be what I prefer from now on. And I'm glad that I think most, if not all of my kits that I have left are the poured glue. Next is special drills or no special drills. So I have never used a kit with special drills of any kind, whether that's ABs or crystals or glow-in-the-dark drills, or, you know, the specialty drills that are literally like a full crystal kit, or, you know, the shaped crystals where you can have like flowers and hearts and diamonds and all sorts of like actual diamond shaped diamonds and all sorts of different like shaped crystals. I've never used any of those. So I am actually very much so looking forward to this kit and all my other kits really, because almost all the rest of my kits that I have specialty drills of at least some kind. So I'm very much so looking forward to using some special drills. Now, I do know that they can be finicky though to work with, so that'll be interesting to see how much of a pain they end up being in terms of like how easy they are to pick up or how easy they are to place, or if the coating starts to flake off and all of that kind of stuff. All right, the next question I have is confetti or color blocking. So as I said earlier, I definitely have done very confetti heavy kits for the entirety of my diamond painting career. But the thing is, I still don't mind it. Like, I think I like and prefer confetti, partially because, again, I think my perfectionism and like my OCD, not diagnosed, but you know, my desire to have everything lined up and be perfect, or at least as close to perfect as I can possibly get it. That tendency that I have makes me more interested in doing confetti, just because I have to single place, and then I can be more precise about where I'm placing the drills down. It bothers me when people multi-place and they aren't 100% lined up. So I would have to say that I probably prefer the confetti, and confetti just keeps it more interesting for me. If I'm looking at the same color for a very long period of time, I get bored really quickly. So if I'm in a moment where I'm like burnt out already, color blocking, I think, doesn't help me. I think I'm the kind of person that needs the confetti in order to avoid burnout. But we'll see how I feel once I start multi-placing and once I'm starting to do bigger kits. All right, let's see if I can draw this symbol here. It is definitely a little more complex than the rest of them. It's like a little square with lines sticking out of it. I guess I probably want to make that a little bit darker. I am trying to do like a second layer to make it a little bit easier to see on all of these, both the DMC numbers and the symbols. All right, so we are on number 30 here of our 37 colors. So we are almost done, and I have 2 more questions left here on my list of questions that are would you rathers. So the next question I have is single place, checkerboard, or multi-place. So as I said, I have not multi-placed before. I don't imagine I'm going to enjoy it, though I am going to try it. But I prefer to do checkerboard pattern really across as much of the section that I'm working on as I can, but especially like if there's a section that's being color blocked, definitely prefer the checkerboard method over any other method for placing the drills down. And again, if I'm single placing and there's just a bunch of confetti, it's harder, but if there is some sections that could be color blocked, I like to do the checkerboard pattern. All right. And then my last question is, when do you prefer to whip? Do you prefer earlier in the day? Like, are you a morning whipper? Are you an afternoon, or are you an evening or nighttime whipper? So I definitely am a night owl, so I prefer to work on my whips. Like when I was working, I would do it after work or late at night. So like right now, it is almost midnight. And this is when I would definitely be working on a whip whenever I don't have to wake up or have morning obligations that I need to be at. Evening time is absolutely my preferred time to work on a whip. All right, here. So let me make sure I get the right DMC code. 3747. Oh man, I am really not doing a great job of making these stickers large enough that I can write a 4-numbered DMC code on legibly. But that's okay. As long as I can figure it out when I go to D-kit, or kit down, I guess is the word I'm looking for. As long as I can kit down appropriately, that's what matters. And I'll still save this like schematic and stuff, so I'll be able to reference it if I need it. But it is nice to be able to just look at the containers and know the answer. All right, so we got this one. Got one little straggler in here. Alrighty. Got a last little guy there. Okay. And then I do have a bonus question for you guys. So my bonus question is, do you place each drill, no matter the color, randomly place your drills, complete one color each section, or complete one color across the entire canvas? So for this, I know there's a lot of differences in how people diamond paint. So again, for me, I section it. I will say when I work on a section, I complete all of the of that particular color for that section. So say I have like a 1 inch by 1 inch by 1 inch section on my canvas that I'm working on, I'll place like all of the 310s and then all of the 939s, and I'll place all of that one color in that section. But I do know that some people will just take that color and they'll use that in part because of like, that way you don't have to kit up. If you just take that color, you open your 310s and you just paint all the 310s across the entirety of the kit. So I'm just kind of curious. I know that one's a little bit more of a complex question than the would you rathers of just one or two options. But I'm curious if you guys, again, like randomly place your colors, if you place everything that's in that section in that one color, if you place that entire color across the canvas, or again, if you, my thought with like placing the drill no matter what color is, say you have a section that you're working on, but you literally just go straight down the row and straight across that column, and you just work in your sections no matter what the color is. I guess another question that could be a bonus question that I don't have is whether you work from one tray or multiple trays. Personally, I work one color at a time, but I know there are people who will just kit up into trays to begin with and will keep them open at all times, or have containers that are open at all times, so that they can just pull from that as they need it and they don't have to take the time to open and close a container over and over again. So as I said, that was my bonus question, which was my last question for you guys. So while I'm kind of wrapping up here, I'll just ask you guys, if you have any questions, let me know down below. I'm hoping to film a whip and chat for this kit. I will probably be filming it here fairly soon, hopefully in the next day or so. So you guys probably won't actually have a chance to respond to my question before I film it, based on when this video will get posted. But I don't know that for sure. So if you guys don't mind, leave me some questions down below. They can be about diamond painting, they can be personal. I might not answer the personal questions, depends on what they are, just for like safety and security reasons and stuff like that. But feel free to let me know what you want to know about me down below, and I will try to respond to comments, or again, kind of keep them and save them for a whip and chat in the future. I would love to know what you guys would like to know about me. I shared quite a bit about my diamond painting preferences today, so you might not have that many more additional questions. But if you do have some, just let me know what they are. Let's see here. And tell me about yourselves. Tell me about your preferences for diamond painting down in the comments below. Again, you heard a lot about what I want to do and what I like to do, but seriously, take the questions. If you want to reference them from the description box, that's fine. If you have a couple of questions that you really want to answer, go ahead, by all means. I would love to hear what you guys have to say, and hear about your guys' preferences. I recently joined several like diamond painting Facebook groups, and it's really amazed me like just how different and wide-ranging the preferences for diamond painting are. Like I already knew about some preferences, again, like things for like round diamonds or square diamonds. But like I had no idea that there were so many different ways that people kitted up or worked on a kit from like doing one color across the entire painting. I think when I first started, that was something that like I was aware of that people did, because I mean, when I first started, I didn't have anything to kit up into, and I was using, again, budget kits that had the bags that, you know, once you open them, you don't have an option but to keep going, or kit them up into another container, whether that's a Ziploc bag or Elizabeth Ward containers or the round screw drill containers or whatever. It's kind of impossible to not have some sort of container for those ones that you just have to cut, unlike these that did come in bags, so you could just kit up, or not even have to kit up for this particular kit. It is nice that they came in the Ziploc bags. Truthfully, I never tried diamond painting from bags that are Ziplocs, so I don't know. I use them for storage, but I don't know what it would be like to actually diamond paint, like from these. It probably wouldn't be too bad, honestly. So this is nice that you have that option. But for those who like don't have any sort of storage containers, and like a Ziploc bag, like a sandwich or snack size bag, are too big for comfort, in my opinion. So if you don't want to use that, I understand the thought process of just going straight from opening the bag and let's just go across the entire canvas, because then I don't have to keep keep track of these open drill packages, which can be very unruly. So I get it, but it's something that like I hadn't really thought about until recently, like just how many people, that's just their preferred way of diamond painting. So again, let me know what your guys' preferences for diamond painting are down in the comments below. I would love to hear about them. This is not for judgment purposes. I don't judge how other people diamond paint. Hopefully you guys won't judge me or each other either. But I mean, everybody has their own preferences, and sometimes you never realize that you could be doing something a little more efficiently or a little bit easier for your body or for your time or whatever it might be, until somebody else says, hey, this is how I do it, and you learn about something new, a new technique or a new product or whatever it might be. So it's valuable information to have for sure. All right. In addition to that, I'd also love if you guys would just let me know what sort of content you'd be interested in me filming in the future. As I said, I do plan to do some whip and chats in the near future, but if you have other ideas that you'd like to see, if you want me to film like the sealing process when I try sealing my budget diamond paintings, let me know. I've kind of been experimenting with the idea of like creating my own cross-stitch conversion kit. I'm not sure if I'll be able to share that, at least not in its entirety, because I'll be using something probably that's, you know, an image that somebody else has already created that wouldn't be licensed to me. I would just be using it from like the internet, just taking a picture and like pixelating it basically. But if you want to see the ability, what I can show of that process at least, let me know that too. And if there's any other videos that you'd like me to film for you, let me know. I will try my best to film some of the things that you guys are suggesting as well. As I mentioned at the beginning of the video, and as I've said in like my description and things like that, I do know myself and I definitely jump from hobby to hobby. So while diamond painting right now is my like hobby of choice, and I imagine it's going to be for a little while, in part because of the amount of money that I've sunk into it over the last year or so. I want to get some, you know, use out of those products. But that doesn't mean that the only content I'll be posting is diamond painting related. So if you guys have other crafts that you enjoy, leave those down in the comments below too, because I'm hoping to build up kind of a space where people of all sorts of different crafty hobbies and backgrounds can come and like spend some time chatting. I know that's not necessarily how the YouTube algorithm prefers to work and is not necessarily optimized for, but I'm hoping that I'll find the people who are like me and probably like you, who definitely have multiple hobbies that we're interested in and kind of float between depending on how we're feeling. And just kind of our seasons of life and things like that. All right, got a couple more colors here. So this is our 5200 color, which is bright white. I did not know until recently that this is actually the white shade of the DMC code. I can't remember what the other color is off the top of my head, but there's another color that is often kind of used as white, but technically it's like an off-white cream color. So something I learned, 310 is black, but 5200 is like pure snow white. All right, so we've got 2 more colors here to kit up, and they are both our specialty drills. So I'll kind of give you guys, hopefully, a decent close-up. Let's see if we can flip some of these guys. So I'm not sure how well you'll be able to see. This is our crystal or rhinestone. I can't remember what they call it. I think they call it rhinestone, but it's basically a crystal diamond. It's kind of like a champagne gold topaz color. So it's got the silver backing so that it covers up the symbol that's on the canvas, but then it has the like crystal bead on top. I'm not sure if these are actual glass crystals or if they're another kind of substance, but they have a really pretty effect from what I can see from other people's paintings that they've completed. This one in particular and just paintings in general. But we'll go ahead and add this one to a container. And to be honest with you, that's something I haven't considered until literally just now. I don't know if if kitting these up into like Elizabeth Ward containers or really any sort of storage system is really what's best for these, or maybe it's best to keep them in their like Ziploc bag if they come in one, or to put them in one if they don't come in their own separate bag. I'm not sure if like putting them in this like hard plastic container might like scratch up the tops of the drills or make them a little bit like harder to work with or something, especially if they're not as easy to like pick up or grab. And I guess that's kind of another bonus question too, is do you work ever out of your containers, or do you work only in trays, or do you do like a combination? I find that when I first start and I have a lot of drills in my container, I tend to put them in a tray, but once the containers start to get empty, I can just shake the container and then I don't have to worry about the drills anymore going into a tray. All right, so this one has a little bit of a different code because it's that crystal rhinestone color. So it's got like a C in the front of it. So I gotta try to fit a letter and numbers into it now, but that's okay. As I said, if there's anything that's really illegible, I can always go back in and change out this label. That's why I like using the washi tape if they don't have stickers that come with them. And truthfully, I'll probably still put washi tape underneath stickers if a kit does come with stickers for their labels, just because I know that the washi tape will remove really cleanly off of these containers. Now, I will say sometimes it removes a little too cleanly and I have to push them down on the edges occasionally, but that is a price I'm willing to pay for the removability of them. I don't know if this will be any better of a angle to maybe see in here and see what those guys look like, but they're very pretty. They're even more sparkly now that they're out of the plastic bag. I'm excited to try those and hope they are not a complete pain to work with. And then I believe that I can manage to fit this bag of glow-in-the-dark drills into the size container here, which is, I believe, the small container. Is that right? Nope, I'm wrong. I don't want the small container. I need a medium-sized container for it, based on my previous ones. All right, so this is our last drill color here, and then we will be all kitted up. And I will try to, maybe I'll do like a short of the glow-in-the-dark drills and the crystals a little more up close and in some different lighting. Hopefully I can like get a good shot of the glow-in-the-dark crystals glowing, or the glow-in-the-dark drills, I mean, glowing. As I said, I was trying to film this for a couple of weeks, and so these drills have just been sitting out on my desk waiting for me to be able to film this video. And so my desk has a window right next to it, So these glow-in-the-dark drills every single day get like charged by the sunlight, and they glow way more than I anticipated. I've seen the videos before of glow-in-the-dark drills, and I was always like, oh yeah, like they're glow-in-the-dark. But a lot of people, they'll use like a black light to charge them, is what they would say. And so I just figured that was like, well, you have to charge the drills. You can't just, set them out in the sun, or if your painting is hanging on a wall where it gets a lot of sunlight, you're not going to be able to tell that they're glow-in-the-dark drills on a regular basis. But I think these drills might prove me wrong. They definitely glow well enough that I think you'd be able to tell if your painting like hung up in an area that got direct sunlight, especially if you haven't like sealed it or put it in a frame or anything like that. If it's just hanging on your wall or displayed just openly, I think these drills are going to be really easy to be able to tell that they're glow in the dark, which is awesome. And again, I'll try to film a short that kind of highlights those crystals and those glow in the dark drills so you guys can see them glowing as well. All right, so we have finished putting all of these drills here in my Elizabeth Ward case. So I have this one extra one that doesn't actually fit in either case right now. So I might have to play around with some of my placements to see if I can make it fit. But here is our tray with all of the drills kitted up. And then, as I said, there's definitely empty space here. So I'm gonna go ahead and pull out a couple more of these actually. And I'll go ahead and toss in these guys. Well, maybe not in that row. Maybe I want them down here out of the way so they're not getting stuck on that corner. There we go. And then I can have all of my extra bags of 939 down here in this corner. And then I can just refill this as needed from here. So I just wanted to say thank you guys all for watching today's video. If you're looking for more content related to this chapter of my life, please check out my diamond painting playlists in my channel. They're going to be linked in the description box below. And if you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing for more content about this chapter and other chapters. Please leave any comments or questions you do have down below. I will see you all in the next one. Bye.